Today we are doing a comprehensive analysis of the big news brought to you by Tom Lee for BMNR investors, and also we are going to do a comprehensive equity research analysis report as of July 28th, 2026, and looking at where this stock could move higher after this new big news. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is Dr. Wilson behind the video. So today is Monday, 20th July, and as I mentioned in yesterday's analysis, the situation still is a little calm, but the price action we are seeing today is not so much worrying, and also we see that there isn't so much aggressive trading activity today because many institutional traders are closely watching what's happening with the conflict, the geopolitical headlines dominating. Large funds usually step back first and assess risk exposure, and the geopolitical tensions involving Israel and US and Iran are creating anxiety across global markets. So it directly affects oil price routes, defense expectations, and also global capital flows. So if these tensions escalate, energy markets could spike more aggressively, and the consequences could be felt for growth and rate-sensitive names like BMNR. Now, let me talk about Bitmine Immersion Technologies, ticker BMNR. And if you think the valuation debate is intense from other growth names, BMNR takes it to a completely different dimension. Looking at the macro calendar this week, we see that before making an intelligent decision about an individual stock, you must understand the macro environment. So, this week we're entering a data-heavy stretch right now. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we expect to get existing home sales data. This matters because housing is a leading indicator for consumer confidence and inflation stickiness. If housing costs remain elevated, it feeds directly into core inflation, which keeps pressure on the Fed. Thursday, we expect to see initial jobless claims and Chicago Fed National Activity Index, and claims have been creeping up slightly over the last few weeks. Friday, we expect to see S&P Global Flash MPIs, both manufacturing and services, and this is a big one for this week. So the market is expecting services to remain in expansion territory above 50. But if we see a contraction in manufacturing alongside sticky service inflation, that stagflation-light scenario could put serious pressure on high multiple names like BMNR. So right now, we see that the 10-year treasury yield is hovering near 4.2 and the VIX is up 10% today. And that fear is structural, not emotional. Now, looking at the BMNR, the Ethereum treasury revolution, let me talk about this stock specifically because this is one of the most unique and controversial stories in the market right now. However, what is Bitmine Immersion Technologies? This is a blockchain technology company that started as a Bitcoin miner with US operations, but the company has undergone a drastic transformation. Under the leadership of Chairman Tom Lee, Bitmine has pivoted to become the world's largest Ethereum treasury company. The company's core strategy is simple but audacious: accumulate Ethereum for long-term investment, funded by its Bitcoin mining operations and capital raising transactions. And of this morning, BMNR is trading at 15.73, up about 0.25% after hours from Friday's close of 15.69. So the stock opened at 14.92 today and has traded in the range between 14.67 and 15.86. Now looking at the valuation reality, let's be honest, BMNR is not a traditional value stock, and the trailing PE ratio is negative because the company reported a massive net loss of 8.75 billion over the trailing 12 months with EPS of negative $8.53. So the forward PE sits at roughly 39.23, and the price to sales ratio is a staggering 154.66 on a trading basis, though the forward PS is about 25.59. And the market cap currently stands at 9.46 billion with approximately 603.23 million shares outstanding. So the 52-week range is incredibly wide, from a low of $12.80 to a high of $71.74. That means the stock has declined roughly 65% over the past 52 weeks, and it's down more than 80% from the highs reached. After the company announced its Ethereum treasury strategy year-to-date, BMNR is down about 42%. So the beta is 1.67, meaning this stock can move significantly faster than the broader market. But here is the growth story. If you are benefiting from the video so far, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. Bitmine's Ethereum treasury has grown to 5.78 million Ethereum, representing roughly 4.8% of Ethereum's total circulating supply. At current Ethereum prices around $1,872, that treasury is worth about 10.8 billion. The company's total crypto and cash holdings now stands at 11.5 billion. And that is what makes this even more compelling. 85% of Bitmine Ethereum holdings are now staked through its Maven platform. That approximately 4.92 million Ethereum, generating projected annualized staking revenue of 247 million. So the company is not just sitting on a massive crypto treasury, it's actively generating yield from it. And also, the big news today, we see that this morning Bitmine announced it had slowed its Ethereum purchases over the past week, buying just 7,430 Ethereum worth about 14 million, as it shifted capital towards a significant stock buyback. So the company repurchased approximately 5.5 million common shares at an average price of 15.62 under its previously authorized $4 billion buyback program. So Chairman Tomley explained the shift directly. The reduced pace of buys reflects that Bitmine repurchased 5.5 million common shares, so the stock gained over 4% in morning trade on the news, with retail sentiment on stock widths trending in bullish territory. Looking at the institutional picture, Wall Street is cautiously optimistic. All three analysts covering BMNR currently rate it as a strong buy, with an average forecast of $31.87, representing over 100% upside from current levels. BRIRI recently lowered its price target from $33 to $25, but maintained a buy rating following the company's fiscal Q3 2026 results. However, institutional ownership picture is worth noting. Only about 32.55% of shares are held by institutions, and insiders own about 0.75%. Short interest stands at 46.31 million shares, or 7.68% shares outstanding, significant short position that could fuel a short squeeze if the stock moves higher. Now, the bull case for BMNR rests on several pillars. First, the company has established itself as the largest Ethereum treasury globally and the second largest crypto treasury overall, trading on a strategy's roughly 55 billion Bitcoin position. Second, the staking operation generates real recurring revenue, 247 million annually from an asset base that continues to appreciate over the long term. Third, the aggressive stock buyback program signals that management believes the stock is undervalued at current prices. Fourth, the company holds additional assets including 207 Bitcoin, a 180 million stake in Beast Industries, a 58 million stake in 8 core holdings. So the average price target suggests more than 100% upside. So the bear case is equally compelling, and frankly it is hard to ignore. BMNR is down over 80% from its highs, and the company reported a staggering net loss of $3.82 billion for Q2 2026 alone. So the stock is still trading well below its 50-day moving average of 17.22 and far below its 200-day moving average of 27.32. The technical picture remains weak despite today's bounce, and while the buyback is positive, the company is using capital that could otherwise be deployed to acquire more Ethereum, the very asset that defines its business model. So, bringing it together, so where does that leave us for this week, starting Monday, July 28th? In the near term, BMNR may trade within a wide range depending on how Thursday's jobless claims and Friday's PMI data reshape rate expectations. The macro environment is messy, and that is reality, but the underlying story here is unlike anything else in the market. Regarding options, discipline matters. With volatility expanding and geopolitical headlines unpredictable, selling premium carries elevated gap risk. Even if implied volatility looks attractive, a single overnight escalation, like a strike in the Middle East, could cause a sharp opening move against your position. So in environments like this, sometimes the best decision is to be cautious. So I hope to be back with updates on how the market digests the housing data. And as always, please make research, and this is not financial advice. Stay out, stay safe, and also remember to fear God and give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment has come, and worship Him who made heaven and earth and the seas and the fountains of waters. Stay blessed. Please, if you like the analysis and want more updates, like, share, and subscribe. See you then.